Although controllers can be created as simple functions, by doing that, you're placing them in the global scope, and other third-party libraries or even other people on your team could potentially step on your function, and that would certainly break your application. So in this section, we're going to talk about how we can add controllers and even other things in AngularJS into containers, or what we'll call modules. Now, earlier in the course, you saw that a module really is just a container for a lot of different things. One of those is controllers, but we can also define routes and factories and services, directives, filters, and even more.
So I like to think of modules as Tupperware containers or bins or whatever you'd like to think of as a general container that can hold things. Now, what's nice about this is by putting things like controllers and routes into a module, we're going to pull them out of the global scope.
So here's what it looks like as far as a module goes and the container concept. So you can see that a module can hold routes and filters and directives and a lot of different things, including controllers over here to the right. And what we're going to learn about is how do we define an actual module. Now, the way it works is we've seen the ng-app directive, but to this point, we haven't assigned it a value. Well, in a more real-life AngularJS application, what you're going to do is create a module, a container, give it a name, and then reference that name using the ng-app directive. Now, all the different pieces that are in that module are going to be accessible to the AngularJS application. Now, defining a module is actually quite straightforward. You can go in and say angular.module, and here's an example down here where we say angular.module, and then you give it a name. Now, when you're first defining the module, you also need to put these square brackets for an array. And I know the first time I saw this, I went, okay, what's with the square brackets? What's with the array? Well, this is used for any dependencies, which you'll see in a moment, that your given module might have. Keep in mind that your module might reference other modules, and that way your application becomes very modular, thus the name module. So here's an example of how we can actually inject other modules into your module. So let's say that you found a third-party module out there that has some really nice directives, and you want to use it in your app. Well, when you define your module, you can make it so that the other helper modules are basically injected into yours by using this syntax right here. So in this example, you can see that we have some helper module, which is really just a made-up term, of course, but imagine that was the name of the third-party module that you want. Well, now we can go in, and if we load that script appropriately, using the script tag, now our module, which is demo app in this case, is going to know and be able to use features and functionality of helper module. Now we're going to see this later as we work with routing and animations, and you could even use it with third-party libraries and much more. So anytime you see the square brackets, that means we're defining a module, and we can optionally reference some third-party type of modules as well.